In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the perfect wax seal. Hey everyone, it's Karley Hall, and if you're new to my channel, I'm Karley. I love all things crafts, and right now I'm working on some wedding crafts to show my sister, so I thought I'd take you along for the process. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make a wax seal using my almost foolproof method, so hopefully you'll learn some tips and tricks, and you'll want to tackle making some wax seals. So here's some projects that I've made, and I'm going to show you first how to get comfortable pouring your wax seals, and then we'll complete these projects. To start, I recommend using a glue pot. This one's from Sure Bonder, but there's other brands. I'll link a few options in my video's description. I find that this gives you the best temperature for your wax so that you can pour your wax seal and it won't be too hot, but will be hot enough to complete your seal. And then I also recommend a silicone mat. So I have a mat underneath here. Typically, these will be used in conjunction with a hot glue gun, and then you can place your glue gun, but it makes a great pouring surface for you to practice pouring a wax seal. There is an option to use a glue gun with wax sticks, but this was a little bit easier to control, and I was able to mix colors. So for example, for this color combo here, I used 2 of these gold sticks and a white stick to get the perfect gold shade. And then once it's melted down in the pot, I just pulled out the wick and could mix the colors together. So you can see that you can just stir this up and get the perfect color that you're looking for. So once you're happy with the color, you can practice pouring. This is a teaspoon, and you can use whatever spoon you want to use. Just wipe off the excess and then pour it onto your silicone sheet. You'll just want to pour a circle. If you want to be more organic, you can do a looser shape, or you can get as perfect as you want, and then you just let it sit on your silicone mat and grab your stamp. I have an arrow indicating which way is up on mine, and then you're just going to place it on top of your wax, and it will sink down into the wax. You'll want to let that cool off until the wax has hardened before removing your stamp. When you're making your practice runs, the arrow doesn't really matter, but if you're placing it on an envelope, you don't want your stamp to be upside down, so that's when the arrow will come into play. So we'll let that cool off. You do need to be patient when it's cooling off, because if you touch it too early, you will dent it. So you'll want to kind of just test it, and once you can easily remove your stamp, then you can peel this off. So I have a couple of options. Once you have your practice seal, if you don't like the color or something's off, you can throw it back into your pot and melt it back down. Or if you want to create a whole bunch of seals and then add them to your completed projects, you can use this and then glue it on using hot glue or regular glue or a glue dot and place it onto your project, and then just use that as your seal as opposed to pouring it directly onto your project. So I'm going to pour mine directly onto my project since I want it to be secure all the way around, since it is holding something in place. But you do have a couple of options. But say I didn't like the color, I could drop in some more white or more gold to make the color that I want, and I'm not wasting any of my wax in my practice run. So just go ahead and pour your wax onto your mat as many times as you need to get a good feel for how much you want to pour, if you want to pour perfect circles, or if you want to have that more organic shape. And I just let mine drip off until it's not dripping anymore, and then pull away my spoon and then place my stamp. So this one I'm going for more of a perfect circle, but you can see that my stamp kind of did its own thing and did move on the wax. So if you don't want it to move as much, you can wait for your wax to harden up a little bit more. But the silicone mat gives you a really good practice circle. Another option, if you don't like pouring with a spoon, they do sell wax sticks and you can use those with a hot glue gun. I like the pouring and the mixing of the colors, so that's my preferred technique, and I do find that it's pretty foolproof once you practice on your silicone mat. Okay, so then you'll let this cool down. If you don't let it cool down all the way and it comes up with your stamp, it's not a problem. You'll just peel it off your stamp. And you can see that this one I poured in more of a perfect circle, but my wax seal was not perfectly in the center. So if you want it perfectly in the center, you can use silicone molds. They have little silicone molds with cavities, but I do like more of the organic look because I feel like that's the beauty of a wax seal. So you can see on my projects, I like a authentic wax seal where it looks like it's not perfect. Everyone is custom and handmade. So that's the look I'm going for today. So for our first practice project, we are going to seal an envelope. For the envelope, we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to pour my wax into a circle. I always eyeball it. I think about maybe 3/4 of an inch would be good. Good place to start. And then I just let it drip until it doesn't drip anymore. Put it back into the pot. This, you'll want to pay attention to the orientation of your stamp and then just place it onto the wax. And I don't fuss with it too much. I kind of just let it fall into place so I'm not fighting my stamp, and that will give it that nice organic look where it's not factory made or perfectly circle. I'll link to the silicone mats that are perfectly circled because, of course, my preference may not be yours. You may want a perfectly uniform circle. So I'll link to the silicone mats, and I may have to try some myself because that could speed up the production. So once it's cool, you'll just peel off your stamp and you have your wax seal. And you can see that that's on there. It's actually sealing my envelope shut, and the orientation is correct since I have my arrow on the top of my stamp. So you'll set that off, make sure it hardens completely. And now we're ready to tackle a project. So for these place cards, I came up with this idea where I have some vellum, some foil text, a piece of cardstock, and then some thread. This is just regular thread that I used, and I just wrapped it around the back in a crisscross fashion and then brought it to the front and tied it so that my wax seal will cover that knot. So this will be a little bit trickier because I want to make sure that I cover the knot and the string and then the glue dot for my vellum. So you may want to practice on a couple of these before you commit. And if it's not perfect, again, that's the beauty of a wax seal. So I'll mix this up, get our teaspoon amount, and then just pour it over the top, making sure to cover our knot. Let it drip off. Make sure your arrow is pointing up, and then press it on. So this one's not laying as perfectly flat since my thread is poking up, and we'll see how it turns out. I also wanted to mention that you can buy sealing little pellets, and you can use these in the melting pot as well. So if you're looking for a specific color, you can buy a whole bunch of different colors and mix them together. All right, so you can see that even though my stamp wasn't laying completely flat, it did cover that pretty big knot and the threads, so it works really well and gave me that really pretty organic wax seal shape, and is actually holding those threads in place now, so I don't have to worry about them lifting or my vellum sliding around. Before it was kind of moving up and down. I'll show you on the other one, and now it's held in place. So not only is this a practical use for these wax seals, but I think it just elevates the place card and makes it look really fancy and will be a really pretty place setting. Let's do one more. So you can see here that the vellum, I can shift it around a lot easier than if you look at this one now. And when I go to shift it, the wax is doing its job and holding it in place. So I have my threads opened and ready. I want to make sure that my vellum's nice and straight, and then just pour right over the top in a circle. And I like to work from the center and just go on the way out, go around the edge, let it drip off. If you want to let your wax set up for a couple of seconds before you place your stamp, you can do that. You just don't want it to get too cold. And then place your wax seal. Wax seals come in all different shapes and images and sizes. This one's a little bit larger. You can see it's a heart. I also just ordered a completely flat one so that I could use clear hot glue with it And then I'm going to press some flowers into my seals, which I think could be a fun little look for a wedding place card or menu. So I'll let you know, and maybe I'll do another video. But hopefully this gives you the confidence to try wax seals. I feel like they're a lot easier than I expected them to be. I was so nervous about getting the perfect seal, and it turns out that it was easier than I thought. So make sure to practice using a silicone mat. You'll get the perfect temperature using a little Surebonder glue pot, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how fun and easy this project is. I was going to end the tutorial there, but then I received some things in the mail. I ordered these online, but then I stopped over at Michael's to get a new glue gun because I tried my low temperature floral glue gun and it did not like the wax sticks for whatever reason. So I went to Michael's and was shocked with their selection of wax seals, and they even had a low temperature glue gun specifically advertised for wax seals, and that's what I ended up buying, and it's working great. So I'll first show you in the silicone cavities. So similar to the wax pot, you just make a little circle and then use your seal and just plop it in there. And once it cools, you can remove it. And I also grabbed this from Michael's, just a flat seal, because I really wanted to do pressed flowers and I wanted to use clear hot glue sticks. And I got another low temperature gun to try with the glue, and I just have not had good luck. I tried it in the silicone tray, I've tried it on paper, and it's not working. I'll show you at the end kind of what the issues I'm running into are so that you can see. But here is a look at the wax seal in the tray. I love this because you can pour a whole bunch and then you can just attach them to your project when you're ready. So I really do like this little silicone tray, and they did have those available at Michael's too. So I'll link everything in my video description so you can check it out. The other thing I ordered, in addition to the wax sticks, were these flowers because I really wanted to do pressed flowers. So I'm going to show you the technique that worked for me. Let's add some wax to my project, whatever you want to put your seal on. And then tweezers would be very helpful. I'm at my parents' house, so I don't have everything I need, but a pair of tweezers would be great. And then place your seal right over the top of that and just gently press down. I could have made that a little bit bigger. Still learning with the pressed flowers. And once it cools off, the pressed flower is attached to the wax, but not under the wax. So it's not sealing the pressed flower in, but it is attaching it, and it does add a very pretty detail. So once it's cool, so here's a close-up of the wax seals with the flowers. Like I mentioned, I really wanted to get the glue gun to work, and I'll show you what happens with the low temperature glue gun just so you can see, because I did end up wasting quite a bit of material trying to get my flowers to work on the glue. So I have a low temperature glue gun. It's not the wax seal gun, but very similar. So just low temp. And then I'm squeezing out my glue, just like the wax. This glue gun might be a little bit hotter than my wax gun. So I'm just letting it set up for a couple seconds, then placing my flower and using that same wax seal and just pressing it into it. And the problem with this that I'm running into is that the glue gun, or the glue, is sticking to the seal and does not want to release it. The wax releases really nicely and really easily, but the glue, for whatever reason, does not want to release. I tried it in the silicone tray. I tried letting it cool down for several minutes, and I'm just running into the same problem. The only way I was able to use the hot glue is using the glue and then the wax over it, but it doesn't really look good, so I wouldn't really recommend that. So let's peel this off here, and you can see. So you can see that I'm fighting this, and if I were to peel this off like an invitation or something, you would just risk, damaging your invitation or damaging your seal. I even lost a little petal. So it's not super great. And honestly, I don't think it looks that much better. If anything, I think the gold looks better, or you could do the same color wax as your paper. So maybe do like a purple with the purple paper, for example. So I'm not having good luck with the clear hot glue, unfortunately, but I am having great luck with the wax sticks in this gun. I really like this gun. I really like this gold color, so I'll link to that. And then again, I'm just doing kind of like a little glob. And you can use any seal. It doesn't have to be the plain one. If I want to use that other seal I was using earlier, I can use that same seal. And pop this off. And you can see it gives the perfect wax seal. So if you have a glue gun and you're not getting good results with the wax seal, I will put a little clip of when I was struggling with my other glue gun. You may just need a new low temperature glue gun. And I do recommend this one because I haven't had any problems. There's no dripping. My other one was dripping like a mess. I'm losing light, so I'm gonna quickly wrap this up. I'm not sure what I like more. I'm not sure if I like this wax gun, glue gun situation or the pot more. I think they both have their advantages and I like them both. So if you're intimidated about using wax seals and you're comfortable with the glue gun, this might be a good option. Or if you want a more custom color, the wax pot is also fun because you get to make your own custom color, mix it up, and every one is unique. So that's a cool concept as well. So I'll link everything that I used. Today's supplies mostly came from Michael's. I really liked this seal. It has a small and a big, and then I really like this glue gun, wax gun that is specifically marketed for wax. It was the perfect temperature. And if you're struggling and you came to this video because you can't figure out using your glue gun with wax, you may just need a new glue gun. If you have any questions, make sure to leave those in the comments. I love doing projects like this where I'm not super confident and then I spend my time learning and messing up so that you don't have to. So you can see all of my trials and wax seals that did not turn out. That way you don't have to waste your money and your time and your effort and your materials, and you can just let me fail. So I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to continue to learn new things so that you can learn from me and hopefully we all become better crafters together. So if you found this video helpful, make sure to like it and consider subscribing to my channel. I'll be posting more wedding-centered crafts because my little sister is getting married next year, and I am so excited to help plan all the things that she'll let me plan and do. So subscribe and follow along for lots more wedding crafts. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.